From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Sounding the alarm on the state's business climate. Colorado has been a magnet for businesses over the past 2 decades. In the past 7 years, the state attracted dozens of companies and more than 40,000 jobs, according to the governor's office. But that trend appears to be shifting. Nearly 100 companies are thinking about leaving Colorado or have already done so. That's according to a new survey of business leaders across the state. And earlier this month, a group of business and tech leaders signed on to an open letter to Governor Jared Polis and other state officials. The letter warned that Colorado's business climate is heading in the wrong direction. They pointed to too many regulations on businesses, especially companies that use AI to do things like set prices. John Frank is a reporter with Axios Denver. He recently wrote about what's driving the departures and what business leaders think might help reverse the trend. John, I want to start with maybe the most high-profile business departure. In February, Palantir announced they were planning to move their headquarters from Denver to Miami. That company specializes in surveillance and data analytics, and they were the largest publicly traded company in Colorado. How seismic was that announcement?
It was certainly a very loud alarm for the business community here in Colorado, but it's not the only one. They point to a long-term trend over the last 5 years where a number of businesses have left the state. A lot of them for Florida, as Palantir did, but others to Texas and North Carolina. All these states seem to have more incentives for these businesses and also fewer regulations. Right now, the business community feels like it is just hamstrung with red tape that is making it hard for them to do their jobs, making it hard for them to innovate here in Colorado.
And earlier this week, a bipartisan group of more than 200 business leaders put out this open letter to state officials, including the governor, warning the business climate in Colorado is deteriorating. How dire is the situation according to this letter?
The letter makes this seem like a seismic moment for Colorado's business community, a crossroads, if you will, where lawmakers and regulators can back off and let this innovation bloom, or they can keep going in the direction that they have for the last 10 years or so, which is to add regulations, whether it's environmental rules. You mentioned artificial intelligence safeguards.
Yeah.
And then there's other labor laws, in particular, that the business community is fighting at the state capitol this year.
So what does the letter say about what's driving businesses away from Colorado?
The number one thing business leaders want to hear is that Colorado is open for business. And state leaders are starting to take notice. Governor Jared Polis even signed on to this letter to make it clear that he is pro-business and wants these companies to expand here. They also want a public commitment to a 20-year strategy to ensure Colorado is one of the leading innovation ecosystems. At the same time, they're asking for the state to modernize and streamline land use permitting and significantly increase housing supply so they can get more workers into the jobs that need to be there.
Right.
And then they want to align state and local leadership behind this mantra, which is business community is good. We need sustained technology investment in order to keep our economy going.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, Governor Polis signed on to a letter addressed to his own office. How unusual is that?
He did indeed. And in this case, Polis firmly sides with business community, saying that he's not willing to sign any new laws or pass any new regulations if it's going to hurt development, innovation, and really the leadership Colorado once established in this space.
Regulations on AI are kind of surfacing as a sticking point for some businesses. Could you briefly remind us what limits Colorado has put on the way companies use AI?
Right now, this law is on hold. It passed in the 2024 session, but leaders are looking to tweak it a little bit, mostly because the regulations in law now go pretty far into forcing companies to disclose when they're using artificial intelligence
Mhm.
and not use artificial intelligence when it comes to high-risk situations. These are employment, healthcare, and other areas where companies could use AI to discriminate against a consumer.
Are certain sectors like manufacturing or tech feeling these regulations or these pressures more than others and therefore more likely to leave?
The tech community is really leading this charge here. A lot of that stems from the AI law we just discussed, but the rest of it is, bans on data centers that the city of Denver implemented not long ago. And other communities are looking at similar ones because of how much power they use, their environmental footprint. Right now, the atmosphere is not great for data centers in Colorado. And so a lot of these tech leaders are pointing this out and making sure that the state doesn't make it harder to build one of these.
The report noted that businesses are going largely to states like Texas, Florida, and California, among others. What do these states offer that businesses see as more attractive than Colorado?
For one, fewer regulations. Colorado's AI law, as we discussed, is one of the only in the nation that is set to go into effect.
Right?
In addition to that, right now, Democrats at the state capitol here in Colorado are trying to pass a bill that would make it easier to unionize. This is something that the business community has raised red flags about for years. It's also drawn a threat of a veto from Governor Jared Polis,
Mm.
but it's kind of just like the tip of the iceberg of how Democrats have regulated businesses and put in more safeguards for consumers, residents, others as part of them taking over the lawmaking process about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting tension. It's also kind of unusual to think of California as having fewer regulations.
What California did is reject regulations on artificial intelligence. So those companies in that state feel like they can continue to innovate, continue to create new products, and a lot of the money behind these entities, the hedge funds, the venture capitalists, they see California as a place where they can trust their investment and let the companies, really create these products. Where in Colorado right now, that's a big question mark.
John, look ahead a year or two. Where do you think Colorado's business community appears to be headed?
It's difficult to look forward a year or two because right now we have a governor's race going on. Remember that Governor Jared Polis is a lame duck. He leaves office in January.
Yeah.
Governor Polis's successors are looking at these laws and possibly are more likely to sign them than he is. So it's a big pivotal moment for the business community here in Colorado.
John Frank of Axios Denver talking about a letter from business leaders in Colorado calling for state leaders to create a more pro-business and pro-tech climate here. We'll put a link to his story in our show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.